رسول الله رسول الله رسول الله رسول الله رسول الله ربنا وبالإسلام أحيانا وعلمنا بأن نبقى لدينه.
الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه، ملء السماوات وملء الأرض وملء ما بينهما وملء ما شئت من شيء بعد. نحمده سبحانه على جزيل النعماء ونشكره على ترادف النعم والآلاء، ونصلي ونسلم على خير المرسلين والأنبياء وعلى آله الأصفياء وأصحابه الأتقياء ومن تمسك بسنتهم إلى يوم الجزاء. أما بعد. Verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He promises us in the Quran, as our beloved Sheikh Khalid told us earlier. He says in Surah Al-Hijr, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرِ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Verily, we have indeed sent down the revelation, and verily we are over it protectors. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He promises us that He will protect this revelation. He will protect this reminder. And as the Sheikh says or said, this does not only include the Quran, but indefinitely it includes the Sunnah of our beloved Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And from the way He has protected this Sunnah is by sending giants, warriors, soldiers, great men who have sweat blood to protect and preserve and give us the Sunnah of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on a golden platter. So from those men is who we heard about earlier, Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari rahimahullah. And from those great men is he who I have the honor of speaking about today, Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan wasi'ah. So we'll begin by mentioning the kunya. His kunya was Abu al-Husayn. His laqab, his nickname was Muhsin Naysabur. Muhsin Naysabur, the generous of Naysabur, from how much he used to give. And his name was Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj ibn Muslim ibn Wardin ibn Qushadh al-Qushayri al-Naysaburi. His name, Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj ibn Muslim ibn Wardin ibn Qushadh al-Qushayri al-Naysaburi. So he was from the tribe of Bani Qushayr, and it was an Arab tribe. And interestingly enough, many scholars, they said, out of the authors of the 6 canonical collections, books of Hadith, that he was the only Arab amongst them. From Al-Bukhari, from Abu Dawood, Ibn Majah, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasa'i, many scholars held the belief that Imam Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj was the only Arab. And this shows us that it is not about Arab and non-Arab. It is not about black, red or white. It is not about he or she. It is about your belief in Allah Azza wa Jal. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum. Verily, the most noble amongst you to Allah Azza wa Jal, or with Allah Azza wa Jal, is he who has most God consciousness. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, he says, Ala la fadla ala aw la fadla li arabiyyin ala ajami wala li ajamiyyin ala arabi wala ahmara ala aswada wala aswada ala ahmar illa bit taqwa. That there is no grace, there is no virtue of an Arab over a non-Arab, or a non-Arab over an Arab, or a red or a white over a black, or a black over a red and white, except with taqwa, except with God consciousness. So that was his tribe, the Arab tribe of Qushayr. He was from An-Naysabur, which is located in northeastern Iraq. And this is an area, a town, a village, a city which many scholars spoke highly of. From them is Yaqut al-Hamawi in his book Mu'jam al-Buldan. He says, هذه بلدة عظيمة ذات فضائل جسيمة معدن الفضلاء منبع العلماء. And he says, لم أرى فيما طوفت عليه من البلدان مثل نيسابور. And some of the scholars, they said, ليس في الأرض مثل نيسابور بلد طيب ورب غفور. So basically it was an area, a village, a city which produced many scholars. And from them is Al-Imam Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj. He was born by consensus, by ijma', after the 200th year mark after the hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, the scholars, they differed. What year exactly? Some of them, they said 201. Some of them, they said 203. Some of them, they said, and the majority either chose between 204 and 206 years after the hijrah. And he was born into a very religious household. Very religious. His father was a Sheikh. Ibn Asakir rahimahullah, he mentions in his book Tarikh Dimashq that a companion of Al-Imam Muslim by the name of Ahmad ibn Salama, he says, Abdul Wahhab, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab al-Farra, he says, كان أبوه الحجاج, أي Abu Muslim, من مشيخة أبي. He says that the father of Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj, the father of Muslim, يعني al-Hajjaj, was from the mashayikh, the shuyukh of my father. And Shamsuddin Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Ahmad ibn Uthman, better known to us as Al-Imam al-Dhahabi rahimahullah, he mentioned in his great book Siyar A'lam al-Nubala that Imam Muslim's first hearing of hadith, his first sitting of hadith, was at the tender age of 12 years old at the hands of his teacher, his Sheikh, Yahya ibn Yahya al-Tamimi. 12 years old, and he sat and he learned and he listened and he memorized. 12 years old. And this shows us that with our family, where are we putting in our efforts? Where are we putting our children, our siblings? Where are we putting ourselves? Where? This is something we need to take into consideration and learn from our scholars. Learn how they acted, how they reacted, how they spent their lives. So he was born in an environment filled with knowledge. And he too grew up to be one of the greatest scholars of this nation. Now, what was his madhab? His madhab of Aqidah was a pure Salafi, if you'd like to say. His madhab of Aqidah was of that of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah, that which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, and the companions of the companions, and the companions of the companions of the companions were on. And this is very clear in his book, Sahih Muslim. He's got his muqaddimah, his introduction, and the very first book he places after that is Kitabul Iman, the book of belief, the book of creed. But his madhab al-fiqhi, the fiqhi madhab, many scholars differed according to this. Some of them, they said he was a Shafi'i. Some of them, they said, such as Abu Ya'la al-Hanbali in his book Tabaqatul Hanabila, that he was a Hanbali. And many other scholars said other things, and from the most preponderant statement is that he had no madhab, or his madhab was not attributed to one of the four madhahib, but verily he was able to himself directly extract rulings from the Quran and Sunnah, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best about that. Now, his occupation, his job, because many of us know the scholars, the custom was that they used to work. They used to go out there and work to support themselves in their quest for knowledge. وَكَانَ مُسْلِمٌ بَزَّازًا كَانَ يُتَاجِرُ بِالْبَزِّ. Imam Muslim rahimahullah, his job, his trade, was he used to trade and be a merchant in textiles, linen, clothing if you'd like. Why? So he can support himself. so he can support himself by the will of Allah in his search for knowledge, in his quest for knowledge. And this proves to us from all of the traveling which he did, al-ilmu yu'ta wa la ya'ti. Knowledge, you need to go to it, it does not come to you. You need to travel to it, it does not travel to you. And I'm sure inshallah with our next topic, we're going to see the sacrifices which the ulama they took and they went through, and the struggles and the obstacles to preserve the narrations. So he used to trade in textiles, and his traveling was a lot, as the Prophet ﷺ said, and these are practical examples of that. من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له به طريقا إلى الجنة. Whomsoever travels in pursuit of knowledge, just like inshallah we all did today. Whomsoever travels in search of knowledge, Allah Azza wa Jal will make the path to paradise easy for him. He didn't say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam the path to knowledge, because with knowledge comes obstacles, struggles, hardship. So you need to push and be patient through them, and Allah Azza wa Jal will make inshallah a path to paradise easy to that. So as we said, he travelled vast. He went over the whole Allahu A'lam world, if you'd like to say. From the countries which he travelled was Kufa, was Iraq, in Kufa, Baghdad and Basra. He went to Syria. He went to Misr, Egypt. He went to Ray. He went to Mecca and Al-Madinah. He went to many other places. And naturally, through his travels, he met many mashayikh, and he took from them. And he quenched his thirst of hadith through them. To the extent, once again, Shamsuddin al-Imam al-Dhahabi, he mentioned in his book Siyar A'lam al-Nubala that he had over 220 mashayikh. We just heard Sheikh Khalid tell us that al-Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, 1,080 individuals he heard from. Al-Imam Muslim, 220 and over. From them was, as we mentioned, al-Bukhari, Muhammad ibn Ismail, ibn Ibrahim, ibn al-Mughira, ibn Bardizbah al-Bukhari. He heard also from Qutayba ibn Sa'id, who was the Sheikh of al-Imam al-Bukhari. And he heard from Ishaq ibn Rahoya, or Rahawai, who was also the Sheikh of Bukhari. And he heard from Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbal. And he heard from Al-Walid ibn Muslim. And he heard from Ubaydullah al-Qawariri and Abdullah ibn Maslama al-Qanabi. And he heard from Abu Bakr and Uthman ibn Abi Shayba. And he heard from many other scholars, including the great Abdullah ibn Abdul Rahman al-Darimi. Many scholars. And this shows us that we can't just sit in a little bubble and expect knowledge to come to us. We need to go. We need to search. We need to sit. We need to listen. We need to write. We need to revise. We need to memorize. We need to struggle. We need to strive so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make us from the leaders of this religion, can make us like these great ai''immah, to make us like these great icons. And from all of those teachers, of course he was going to produce mountains of knowledge, mountains, giants of students. From them, Ibn Khuzaymah, rahimahullah. From them, Abu Isa Muhammad ibn Isa at-Tirmidhi. From them, Salih ibn Muhammad. From them, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab al-Farra, and many other students. Now, once again, from all of these mashayikh he took from, and from all of those students which he taught and he made into who they were by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal, he obviously wrote many books. From the greatest of those books, is his Sahih. And some of them called the Al-Jami', and some of them called the Al-Musnad of Al-Imam Muslim. So we know the Sahih of Al-Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, it's not just Sahih al-Bukhari. That's because of our ignorance in studying and memorizing, and our lack in that field. In reality, it was Al-Jami', Al-Musnad, Al-Sahih, Al-Mukhtasar min umuri Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa sunnanihi. So the Sahih of Al-Imam Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj, Sahih Muslim. And it took him 15 years to compile. Imam al-Bukhari, 16 years to compile his Sahih. Imam Muslim, 15 years. 15 years. And wallahi, a beautiful story. What's the time, brothers? 14, okay. Inshallah, we've got another 10 minutes. A beautiful story. When Muhammad ibn Ismail, rahimahullah, al-Bukhari, he traveled to Naysabur, where Al-Imam Muslim was. Imam Muslim, he heard that he was coming. And like any student would be happy, like any student would do, he got extremely excited. So when he came, he went up to him and he kissed him on his forehead, between his two eyes. And he said to him, دعني أقبل رجليك يا أستاذ الأستاذين. He said, let me kiss your feet, O teacher of teachers. And the scholars, they say this is very strange, this plural. Ustadun or ustadin. We're not generally the plural, asatida, asatid. No, he said, دعني أقبل رجليك أو قدميك يا أستاذ الأستاذين. Look at the ihtiram. Look at the manners. Look at the etiquettes of the young with the old. Look at the etiquettes of the student with his sheikh. Look at the etiquettes of the student with his teacher. And this proves to us that when you have a teacher, you need to be patient with him. Even if you don't agree with what he's saying sometimes. Even if you get put over sometimes. Even if you get embarrassed sometimes, who cares? You have something he wants. Or sorry, he has something you want. He has something you need. So respect the mashayikh. Respect your teachers. So it took him 15 years to compile this Sahih. And the proof for that is in the great book Tabaqat Ulama al-Hadith, and also Siyar A'lam al-Nubala. The Ahmad ibn Salama rahimahullah, he says, كنت مع مسلم في تأليف صحيح 15 سنة. I was with Muslim whilst he compiled his Sahih for 15 years. 15 years he took to compile his Sahih. And Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he mentions in his explanation of Sahih al-Bukhari, Fath al-Bari, he says, استغرق مسلم في تأليفه أو صنف مسلم صحيحه في بلده. Ibn Hajar says that Muslim, he compiled his book in his home country, in his own country. So where did he do it? In his own country, his own city. How long did it take? 15 years. 15 years. How many narrations was it? How many narrations was it? I already got the signal. Okay. Some of the scholars, they said it is 12,000 narrations, just to be a bit quicker. Others, they said it is 7,500 approximately. And this is only a ikhtilaf in regard to the repetitions, al-mukarrarat. And other scholars without them, they said it is 4,000 ahadith in Sahih Muslim. And that is in reality the mashhur opinion, the popular. And other scholars, such as Muhammad Fuad Abdul Baqi, he mentions it is 3,030 narrations. And so we don't take too many or too long. I've got to be a bit quicker. What are some reasons as to why the Sahih is so great? Well, in the Sahih of Al-Imam Muslim, he narrated 6 of 620 men that Imam al-Bukhari did not narrate. And in his Sahih, he had put a muqaddimah, an introduction, which Al-Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah did not put. And it is about 40 pages. So I'm going to have to be a bit quicker, brothers. We'll jump straight to his death, inshallah ta'ala. Al-Imam Muslim rahimahullah, he died 261 years after the Hijrah, at approximately the age of 55 or 57 years old. And wallahi, it's a beautiful riwayah about how he died. And it's mentioned in a book by Ibn Salah in Siyanat Muslim, on the way he died. And this in reality is an example of the ibarah, the expression تَمُوتُونَ كَمَا تَحْيَوْنَ وَتُحْشَرُونَ كَمَا تَمُوتُونَ. You will die the way that you live, and you will be resurrected the way that you die. So he mentioned the Al-Hakim Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Abdullah Sahib al-Mustadrak, he said, سمعت أبا عبد الله محمد بن يعقوب يقول سمعت أحمد بن سلمة يقول عقد لمسلم أو لأبي الحسين مسلم بن الحجاج مجلس للمذاكرة فذكر له حديث لم يعرف فانصرف إلى منزله وأوقد السراج وقال لمن كان في الدار لا يدخلن علي أحد منكم هذا البيت فقيل له لقد أهديت لنا سلة من تمر فقال قدموها إلي فقدموها إليه فبات يطلب الحديث أو كان يطلب الحديث ويأخذ تمرة يمضغها حتى أصبح ووجد التمر قد فنيت ووجد الحديث. Just to cut it a bit short, that he says the death of Imam Muslim rahimahullah was due to hadith itself. Ahmad ibn Salama, he says, we had organized a majlis, a gathering to kind of ponder upon and reflect and revise the ahadith. And what happened, subhanallah, Imam Muslim, he heard of a hadith which he knew it, but he had forgotten it. So he went home and he turned on the lamp and he said to everyone that was in the house, none of you enter upon me this house or this room. No one come upon me. He wants to search for the hadith in his books. Then his family told him, verily we have been gifted a basket of dates. So he said, bring it to me. Bring it to me. So they brought it to him. So he stayed all night eating tamar after tamar, date after date, looking for the hadith until he fell asleep and he woke and he found the tamar or the tumur, the dates had kind of finished. He ate them all and he found the hadith. And Al-Hakim rahimahullah in the books Tarikh Dimashq and Tarikh Baghdad, it's mentioned that Al-Hakim says زادني أحد الثقات من أصحابنا أنه منها قد مرض ومات. Al-Hakim rahimahullah, he says that one of the very trustworthy individuals that I know of my companions, he said because of this he became sick and then he passed away. And some of the other books, I'll just mention about 3 or 4 from those which Al-Imam Muslim authored was Kitab al-Tamyiz fi Ilal al-Hadith and Kitab al-Mukhadramin and Kitab Awlad al-Sahaba and many other books like Kitab al-Kuna wal-Asma. And wallahi, there's too many. I've been given the signal a couple of times. Wallahu a'la wa a'lam. Inshallah, maybe we can spend a series on these giants who preserved the narrations of our blessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Wallahu a'la wa a'lam wa akbar wa ajal. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Al Bayan Radio, the voice of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah.